Whatever stage you're at with your trading, it's important to stop and gain perspective before planning your next move. Take a break from the charts and join in the discussion with our hosts, Jason Graystone and Akil Stokes, as they share insights, opinions and expertise on all things trading. Grab a coffee, pull up a chair and join the Trader Coffee Break.
Well, we're back. How's everyone doing? I'm Jason Graystone and
I am Akil Stokes.
Back with a vengeance. We've been away for a little while. I did come back last week, but that was the first session this year. And yeah, it's Akil was ill for a bit. I hope you're all right now, Akil.
Much better, much better. OG threatened me, said if I didn't do something to get better, he'd kill me before the sickness did. So that was kind of the kick in the butt I needed to kind of get myself back on track here.
Yeah, right. I think everyone had that kind of flu-y type crap. So it's good to be back. Good to be back. First of all, a little celebration. We surpassed 1,000 subscribers. So there you go. We got a nice little celebration there. Thanks for everyone who tunes in, who gets a nugget of value from these sessions and, enjoys us ranting by the water cooler for a half hour or so. And who's joining us today? Cade's here, Chris is here. Good stuff. All right, so this week we're going to be talking about trade plan and strategy. What are they? What are the differences? How to go about, tips on what to think about when developing the two. And a lot of the time, I think they are they're confused with one thing or two things or, the same thing. And lots of people have got different opinions from what I've found anyway. I don't know about you, Akil, talking to people.
Yeah, and I think that the confusion comes, I guess, not necessarily the trader's own fault. You don't know what you don't know. But I think when you're just starting off as a trader, you think your trade plan is simply your strategy. And in reality, the strategy is a part of your trade plan, but there's also a lot more components to it. But I guess just to start with the strategy, I would say that, your strategy, we always believe in something called rules-based trading. So you can have ideas for what you want to do. You can kind of know it, you can feel it, but until you actually have written rules, we tell our traders that you don't have a fully developed trading strategy. And the interesting part about writing it, because we have a whole process of how we teach it, if-then syntax, kind of writing it like a step-by-step process, is that in writing it down and really honestly sharing it with others to review, we highly recommend that. But that's where you start to see the holes. And I was actually doing a trade review a few weeks ago in our Q&A session. And it was a trader who shared his trade plan. It was just rules of engagement. And it made sense to him. But when we read it to the rest of the group, it didn't make sense to anyone else. Yeah. And it was kind of a point of reality where he's like, well, yeah, but what I meant by that was this. And, what that really means, I do this. And we're like, well, if that's what it really means, it should be written down that way. It should be written down in a way that if you were to give it to myself or Jason, we can actually look at it, go through it on a chart and understand each step of the process. So, writing down those rules of engagement, part of your trading strategy is very important because I think it's going to allow you to see things that you don't actually have rules for. And that's going to be very helpful as far as plugging the gaps and the holes that are in your trading strategy. Because, I think you would agree, Jason, we all have holes, right? We all look at our first strategy and there's all things that we didn't notice. And part of the process of becoming a better trader, evolving, is slowly filling those gaps.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably a ton of, I always think about it imagine aliens watching us now, and if they saw us living, they'd probably be tons of holes in the way we live. They'd be like, what are you doing that for? And I think that about my trading now. It's if I could give it to someone way more evolved and way more advanced, been doing that longer than me, they'd probably go, oh man, don't do that bit, do this bit, and switch it up. And great, that's why trading is an ever long journey and process. So Yeah, absolutely. I think when it comes to strategy, that's one thing, you know, rules of engagement, setups, objective kind of board game instructions that you could give to anyone. They could follow them and they say, these are the rules. This is how you look at the markets. This is how you identify something. This is how you place orders. This is where you get in, get out. This is your risk, all the rest of it. And that is a strategy. But what a trade plan is much more. It's much broader. A trade plan, if you think about the strategy is part of the trade plan, just one little piece of it. And then the trade plan is essentially imagine a company that has a policy. The policy is written so that the company makes money, makes a profit. It's like instructions that they say, if we follow this policy, we'll have happy staff, we'll have profit, and, you know, we'll grow. And that's really what a trade plan is. And that's not just a strategy. That's your capabilities, you know, your how many markets you're able to trade at once, how busy you are, you know, how many markets you trade, how many strategies you trade, what time of day you trade to be consistent, what time frame you trade, what your routine is during the day, what your routine is before trading, after trading, you know, habits, routines, emergency rules, all that kind of stuff, and strategy. And that all makes up your policy, your edge as a business, your edge as a trader, this plan, a book with all these rules in it. That's the kind of differentiator between the two. Is that fair, Akil? Did I miss anything?
No, it is, like I said, it's your trading is your business, and this is your business plan, and everything that is involved in your business, from say your mission statement to start things off, right?
Yeah.
Should be in that trade plan. I always look at it as something where if I ever have any question about any element of my trading, the answer should be in that trade plan. So if I ever have any question about, am I following rules, it should be in that trade plan. If I ever have any question about what pairs I'm trading, or what markets are I trading, or at what time, or, you know, what is my risk policy, right? I should be able to flip through that trade plan, or I guess digitally scroll through it. I aged myself by saying flipping through. But every answer should be in that trade plan. Like you said, emergency contacts. If internet goes down and, you know, blows up, you can't get orders off, who do I call to, you know, damage control and say, hey, take all my positions, right? Get me flat or whatever like that. All of that should be on our trade plan. So I think that something that traders need to think about when they're developing the trade plan is, you know, what is every aspect of trading that needs to be covered, right? Look at the entire business, not just the sexy part, because the rules of engagement are the sexy part. But if you don't have everything else, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. And the last thing I would add, I think you mentioned this too, but it's always evolving. And that's the cool part, where at least we should always be evolving as traders. Your trade plan should always be evolving. It could be a new risk management or money management tactic that you pick up. You could venture out into different markets, right? You can add an entire different strategy with a different portfolio. Maybe your goals become different, where at first maybe you're super aggressive and try to grow your capital as quickly as possible. Then maybe you get to a certain level and it's like, well, you know what? I've got enough. Now the goal switches to, I don't want to lose it, or I want to reinvest it somewhere else. So you can always change your trade plan. It's not like once you have it printed out or written out, it's locked forever. It should be growing and you know, just as we audit our trades, it should be, it like should keep cycling over time.
Yeah. And you made a really good point about mission statement, and you know, that's something that should be on there. You know, as he says, you might not have the same objective as time goes on, and it's great to have why you're trading as your statement in your trade plan. You know, why are you doing this? Because I was speaking to someone the other day and they said, oh yeah, you asked me if I enjoy trading. I've been doing it about 15, 16 years and I haven't made a profit. And he said, I never thought about whether I enjoyed it or not. I just saw it as something that would make me money. And I said, well, mate, you probably don't enjoy it. If you've been 15, 16 years and you still haven't nailed it, you probably don't enjoy it. You're probably doing it, you know, out of hope. And it's important to have things like that written there. It's like, why am I doing this? Because you might figure out, I don't want to do this. But, you know, but if you do want to do it, sometimes you can get disconnected as to why you did it, and then reading that back will either reaffirm, oh yeah, get you connected to why you're doing it in the first place, so you get a new motivation, or you go, oh yeah, I see what I really wanted to do originally, but my values have changed, my priorities have changed. And this is really common in prop firm traders. They get to about 25, 26, and their values change. 17, 18, they're like, all money, money, popping the flipping sparkly candle champagne in the clubs and stuff. And then they get to like 23, 24, and it's a bit more, taking a bit of a toll. And then 25, 26, they've made a load of money, and they're not excited about clicking things on the screen anymore. They want more than that. So, their values shift, and then their mission statement might change. And that's really, a great thing to have at the start of your trade plan. I know, Akil, you back in the day when I think you gave people your demo or your old trade plan, and right at the front it was like, I am a trader, this is why I'm trading, this is what I want from my life. And it's a great statement, a great affirmation. That's something really good to put in your trade plan.
Yeah, I made sure I read it each and every day. It was part of my routine. I struggled a lot with confidence and kind of, I didn't think I deserved to be successful because, I was brainwashed back then. If you didn't go to like a top university or work for like a prop firm on Wall Street, like you couldn't be a successful trader. I printed out that mission statement. I had some pretty cool quotes on there. I had read a lot of Tony Robbins stuff back then, and even some Grant Cardone stuff. So I was big on like feeding myself with like 7 positives for every 1 negative I spoke. So part of my routine each and every morning was I flip open. I had it in an old school 3-ring binder. I probably still have it somewhere down here actually. But I would read through it each day just as kind of like a pump up speech where it's like, hey, I'm not only reviewing what I should be doing, but like I deserve to be here. This is why I'm doing it. And that was something that I needed just to mentally keep myself in check, especially during the tough periods. And there were a lot of tough periods at the beginning.
A lot of tough periods. And the fact that you're out today there's quite a few trading communities, right? None as good as Tier 1, but there are quite a few. And back then there wasn't. And it was very lonely. You were just left to your own devices. There wasn't really too much to bounce off of other people. There wasn't as much access that we've got to some of the great minds on the planet where you can just message them on Twitter, right? And we didn't have really that too much. So it was harder back then, but I still think it's a really important thing to have in your plan as an affirmation as to why you're trading. What is the mission? Why does the business exist? That's what you'd put in any great company. So, do it in your trading company. We've got some comments here. And by the way, if you think we've missed anything there and you think it's really important, let us know what you add to your trade plan, because we're talking about developing trade plan and developing strategy and the difference between the two. So let us know. Lewis has said, can go even as far as to self-check before the trading session, which contributes to determining risk, etc. Yeah, how am I feeling? User error, emotional error, all that kind of stuff, right? Akil, was you going to say something?
That's really good having that. I'm not sure if it was you that spoke about that. I just talked to Michael Lamont the other day, who's really good with that type of stuff as well. But like having that emotional checklist to go through. We always talk about you never want to trade like if you're not in the right mind state. So that could be like lack of sleep, or hey, you had a long night out with the friends, and maybe you took a couple more drinks than you planned on, or maybe a bad breakup or a death of the family. But you never want to trade when you're not, or if you're sick, you never want to trade in a state where you're not always there. So it's good to have that kind of emotional checklist to run through where it's like, did I do this? Am I feeling this? Am I blah, 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 like that, to kind of make sure like, hey, I'm ready to trade today, or like, I need to take the day off and come back tomorrow. So I really like that idea. That's good.
Yeah. So what's the kind of, Mohit says, developing an edge in the market is one thing, executing it is a whole different ball game. Risk management being different niche on its own. Yeah, totally. That is the main difference. A strategy is just one element of a trade plan, and that's it. And the trade plan is your edge as a trader. How you're able to perform your best. And that includes times, emotions, feelings, personality, distractions, all that kind of stuff. That's all should be in your plan. So, with that said, what are some things that, well, I guess what are some things that you could tell new traders now they're kind of aware, these are two different things. What would we have as a minimum for a trading strategy? Now, I think we've been over this before, but I think some key pointers if you're thinking about developing a strategy, what are some things we want to pay attention to, Akil?
Yeah, I think the first thing that a newer trader should do is don't be in a rush to kind of find the magic thing that works. Or like you said, if you're very money driven, you're young, you just want to make as much money as possible. I think you're going to learn this lesson at one point or another, but you need to match your strategy to your personality. And so what that means is that before finding a strategy that you want to trade, you need to find the answers to the questions of, what are my trading beliefs? Do I believe in directional movement? Do I believe in counter trend? Do I believe in buy and hold? Do I believe in and out? Do I believe that, look at your lifestyle, and do I have the ability to be a day trader, even if I want to be a day trader? Should I be more of a swing trader? Can I be an end of day trader? I think you need to figure out what your beliefs are about the market, and then either find or create, or a little bit of both, a strategy that works around that. So I know for me personally, like, it took me a long time to figure this out. But for me, support and resistance, structure, supply and demand, like, I call that the backbone of my trading, right? That is by far for me the most important thing in the market. So everything that I develop and do is around that. For years, I tried to trade strategies that I didn't quite believe in. And even if they were profitable to other people, they're never profitable to me, because like you said, I didn't have the ability to follow through with them. I would always sabotage myself because I didn't believe them, and I'd skip them and do all types of funny stuff. So I think even before developing a strategy, you need to learn about the markets. You need to understand and identify what are your beliefs, what are your core values, right? Same thing as a business, like you mentioned before. Like, you don't start a business just like, how can we make money, right? It's, what are the core values? What do we want to get out of this business? What is our mission? What is our purpose? And then you fit the pieces around that.
Yeah, great points. Lewis says, yes, sleep's massively important. Aura rings are pretty good for metrics to track this. A mistake tracker, I think, is also a pretty powerful tool. Improvement by subtraction. Yeah, so a great thing that I promote is self-review. Like, literally going through, monitoring your trading and say, where did I take any excessive risk? Okay, so if you're allowed to take 1%, where did you take over 1%? Or, where did you take excessive risk? Where did you miss trades that you should have been in? Where did you get into trades that you shouldn't have been in? Okay, and was there any management errors? And if you just review those 4 things, your goal should be to make 0 errors. And when you make 0 errors, you're trading flawlessly, the plan. And then you see what the true plan's performance is, and whether it's like the back-tested results or not. We've been saying this for so many years, Akil, but the more you kind of say it, the more I feel like I'm repeating myself like a scratch record, but it is so simple. It's so simple. You test something, down to those strategy rules, which Akil's just mentioned. And then if it isn't profitable, you see if you can adapt it to make it profitable. And then if it is profitable, great. Does it suit the profit that you want from it? Or can you add to it? Or can you optimize it? Then you go and trade it. Okay, and your goal is to mimic those results, because if it's profitable, you want to be profitable. So why would you change? Why? And I know that sounds stupid.
That's the big question.
People are going, well, I don't change. Well, you do, because I can tell you that every trader that sent me a trade review to do, it's 100% of the time mistakes. Okay, and those mistakes are either missing a trade. Oh, well, I did miss one trade. And it's like, well, there you go. That's why you're at 0% instead of 3% for the month. And it's either that, or it's, well, I got in late, or I didn't I took a trade that I've forced because I just wanted some action. That's a common one. It's like, well, would you have is it exactly like your back-tested ones? Well, it kind of, I just wanted to take a trade and it looks like it. And well, there you go. As soon as you slip out of consistency, you can't expect consistent results that you got in your testing. It really is as simple as that. There's no magic. There's no black art. It's just, that is it. It's it's so simple. And I know a lot of people don't like to admit it, but it is. It really is. Not easy. Not easy. I won't say it's easy. Chris says sleep is for the way. Chris Denoyer doesn't sleep. He's the exception to the rule.
That's why I've been sick for a week. See, I learned that lesson.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So let us know in the chat if you would add anything, or how you like to develop a trade plan, how you like to develop a strategy. Interested to hear your thoughts. And I think we've covered everything off. Akil, you got anything else you want to add?
No, I think the most important part, and we mentioned it before, we'll mention it again, is that understand that it's never perfect. It's definitely not perfect at first. So don't be one of those people that don't get started because you're waiting for perfection. You just have to get started. Like you said, just like a trading plan, you start with a trading strategy, you start with something and then you kind of tweak it and mold it and figure it out. The trading plan is the same way, start with something, it can be very vague, right? And then as you develop and you learn new things about yourself, you learn new things about your system, as you bounce it around people in your trading community, you start adding something. I can't tell you how many trade plan reviews we've done or accountability sessions that we've done on the platform where someone else is listening to someone else's trade plan and they're like, oh, you know what? That's a good idea. I'm going to put that in mind. Yeah. And that's just a part of the evolution. And there's nothing wrong with that. We still add stuff to our trade plan all the time. Add stuff, take stuff away, tweak it. It's normal. So don't be a perfectionist where it needs to be perfect. It just needs to keep evolving.
Amazing. All right, cool. Well, there you have it. We have covered a lot of ground on this channel, and over the next series of sessions, I think what would be good to do is just to kind of pick apart and go a little bit more detailed on some of the topics. So we're thinking about talking about risk management and position sizing and talking just about some ideas around that, support and resistance, utilizing technical indicators, developing a disciplined approach to trading, and we'll just go a little bit deeper on some of these topics going forward. And if you guys have got any topics you want to, if you're struggling with something or some question comes up in your mind a lot, throw it in. Join us around the kettle, the water cooler, grab a coffee, and let's have a rant about it. That's what this session's really for. So I really enjoyed coming back. This has been a great session back with myself and Akil. I hope you've enjoyed it as well. And until next week, take care. Have a great rest of your day and week. And it's Non-Farm Friday at the time of this show on Friday.
Big one this week, man. We got, FOMC today, Bank of England, and ECB tomorrow.
Yeah. And then Non-Farms.
Non-Farm Friday.
Yeah. I mean, we're seeing a lot of tumbleweed on many of mine anyway. So, guys, have a good one. Do less to do more, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks for joining us for the Trader Coffee Break. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to never miss a live discussion. Follow our hosts on social media, and remember, do nothing to gain perspective on everything. See you next week.